Philae was the name of an island located in the Nile River, 11 kilometers south of Aswan, in Egypt. It was famous for the temples erected during the Ptolemaic and Roman periods, dedicated to the cult of the goddess Isis, that spread throughout the Mediterranean, maintaining his veneration in the Temple of Philae. The island of Philae was submerged in the 20th century, under the waters dammed by the Aswan Dam. Although under the sponsorship of UNESCO, the temples were dismantled, moved, and rebuilt on the nearby islet of Agilkia. Isis is one of the main goddesses of the ancient Egyptian religion, whose cult spread throughout the Greco-Roman world. She first appears during the Old Kingdom, as one of the main characters in the myth of Osiris, in which she resurrects her husband murdered, the divine king Osiris, and fathers and protects his heir, Horus. She was believed to help the dead enter the afterlife, as she had helped Osiris, and was considered the divine mother of the pharaoh, who was identified with the god Horus. Her maternal aid was invoked in healing incantations, to benefit the common people. Isis was a deity of funerary rites, and in magical texts, art generally portrayed her as a woman wearing a throne-shaped hieroglyph on her head, assuming features that originally belonged to Hathor, the predominant goddess of the times. In previous works, Isis was portrayed wearing Hathor's headdress, a solar disk between the horns of a cow. The main temple is that of Isis, which occupies the main axial position, with the other temple subordinate to that of the goddess, located transversely to said axis. Isis was one of the main goddesses of the Egyptian pantheon, but only after Nectanebo I, pharaoh of the 30th dynasty, did sacred buildings of some importance begin to be erected on the island. The Lagidas continued to expand the complex, and, later, some Roman emperors like Augustus, Tiberius, Trajan, and Hadrian, ordered more buildings to be built. The cult of the goddess lasted until the 6th century, when the Eastern Roman Emperor Justinian I outlawed it. The complex was converted into a Christian church dedicated to the devotion of Saint Stephen, until the 12th century, a time in which the Islamist creed had already been imposed as the majority religion of the Egyptian population. The Philae Temple Complex is part of the open-air Museum of Nubia and Aswan, declared a World Heritage Site by UNESCO in 1979, under the name of Nubian Monuments from Abu Simbel to Philae. The last text written in Demotic Egyptian was dated December 11, 452. It is a phrase painted on the walls of the Temple of Isis, in Philae.